Hi, welcome to the Research Like a Pro question and answer series. This is Nicole Dyer, and today's video is called Tools for Research Logs, including Airtable, Goldie May, and large language models. And in this video, I share some ideas for how we might use now and in the future as things get better and more reliable. Goldie May to help us keep an automatic research log, and then large language models like Claude or ChatGPT to help us fix up the research log that's automatic to be consistent with citations and to look nice and be usable in a spreadsheet format. And then I also talk about Airtable and how you can use the AI within Airtable to help you write sections of your research report from your research log. So these are some new tools that I'm using, and always looking for ways to make research logging more efficient and incorporating these new large language models to help with writing the research report. Tonight, our tool that we're going to talk about is research logs. So research logs are such an important tool, and whatever tool you use for your research log, it's important to track each step you take to follow your research plan. And that's why we love research logs, because it helps us remember what we've done. But it's also an important step for writing our source citation. And often when we log something, that's the first time we write the source citation. It's the first time we view the source, and it's really efficient to write the source citation at that time. And this will save you time in the future because you are taking the time to analyze, understand the source, and write the citation all the first time you view it. So the tools that we recommend for research logs are Airtable. That's our favorite because it's powerful and it has the ability to filter, sort, group, and then save views, which is really useful. And if you don't want to use Airtable or a database tool, because maybe you're more familiar with spreadsheets, we also highly recommend spreadsheets. And Excel and Google Sheets are also very powerful, and they're great options for saving your research steps and logging what you've been doing. A tool that some of you have tried and some of you may not have heard of is Goldie May. And this is an automatic research log and a suite of other tools that can help you to keep track of what you're doing and make more discoveries. It saves the web pages you visit when you turn automatic research logging on. And then you can use the exported CSV file generated by Goldie May's automatic research logging and massage that and fix it up with AI like ChatGPT or Claude, and even import it into Airtable if that's what you want to do. So those are some tools that I recommend you learn about. Now I'm going to spend a little more time talking about Goldie May, and that's because I think there's a great potential here to save us some time with copying and pasting. A lot of the time for a research log, we're copying and pasting a URL, data from the extracted information. And then, of course, we're always going to be adding our own information as we look at the original image or analyze it or transcribe it. But some of the things we can save time with by using an automatic log. So I'm not sure how this will be in the future, but with AI, I feel like there's potential for tools like Goldie May to do a lot of the research log work for us. Goldie May, as I mentioned, can automatically log the web pages you visit. And in this day and age of research, a lot of the research we do is online. And recently I did take a research trip to Love County, Oklahoma, and found so many records that weren't online. So in that case, I took a lot of pictures of the images. And even in that case, when I now am going through all of those images on my Google Photos account, they are uploaded to the web and they have a URL. So there's a lot of things in common there with researching online versus taking pictures in an archive or a repository and then uploading it to your own personal archive in your Google Drive or whatever it is. And then still we need to log those images that we have in our research log so that we can find them and have a citation for them. So a lot of things we do are digital. And adding our own insights and thoughts about the findings that we make are an important part of the research log. And when we do our automatic logging with Goldie May, that's the part that we have to do ourselves. And in our AI class, we talk about things that AI can do for you, things that you can do for yourself. And one of the things in research logging that we have to do is to actually type out the things that the record says and think about what the meaning of our findings are. What is the evidence we're drawing from this record we found? or what analysis are we doing? And so that's important. The other thing we have to do often is create a citation. And sometimes the AI or digital tools can help us create the citation, but sometimes we just need a little oversight to make sure our citations are consistent. So, like I said earlier, Goldie May automatic logging can save time with copying and pasting. So that's one of the reasons why I'm covering it tonight, so that it can help us become more efficient. But we can't rely on it fully to do everything for us. We'll have to add the important details that we will need later to write the research report. If we try to write our research report with just the web page and whether or not the record was the one we wanted, we'll be missing a lot. So we have to add in what the record says, basically. So here's an example of what the Goldie May automatic log looks like. The project I was doing was finding the parents of Daniel Morris Dyer. And in Goldie May, you're allowed to set up a research objective within the project. And so you can have multiple projects and multiple research objectives. And then once you turn on automatic logging for that project, then you'll have a list like this. And what's logged when you go to each page is the title of the web page. So you can see that looking at a deed index image, this is kind of the title that you get. So it's clearly a family search image because you can see from the URL here, the ARK indicates an image. And then we've got deed index 1, grantee, deed index grantee, grantee index to deeds, kind of repetitive there. Carrollton, grantee deed indexes 1864 to 1879, 1879 to 1926. So this is giving us a lot of information, but it's still kind of unclear exactly what it is. So this is one of the examples of how we need to go in and like actually put in the information for the citation and that kind of thing. If you have a premium account with Goldie May, then it will put in automatic citations for you. And what it does is it takes the title of the web page and puts that in quotation marks and then puts the URL and the access date. And it leaves out the exact details of what exact person you looked at on that page. And so you have to add that yourself. Now, also with Goldie May, you can click the like or dislike button. So if it was a record that didn't match your person, you could click dislike. And if it didn't match your person, you can click like. Then on the abstract, that's where I added this Daniel M. Dyer to William L. Dyer et al. At X, WD 110, 155. And so it's telling me that it's in the warranty deed book, 111, page 155, $500, March 28th, 1916, tracked in northwest quarter of southwest quarter. So this is showing me where I need to go to find the original record. And then for the next record, I didn't do an abstract, but I just have this page on Find the Grave, and it was for Daniel Maurice Dyer. And then here we have a newspaper article at newspapers.com from the Tennessean newspaper in 1878. So this is kind of what you get with the automatic research log, and then whatever you add to the abstract makes it even better. Then when you're all done with that research session, you can export it as a CSV file. All right, so let me just finish up with Goldie May before I go on to Airtable AI. So one of the things that I experimented with in our Research Like a Pro with AI course was taking this CSV file and putting it into Claude and asking Claude AI to clean it up and fix up the citations to make them consistent, because they didn't have the name of the individual that I was looking at. And it actually did a really good job adding those. One of the citations, it added some false information to try to make it look like a correct census citation, and it made up the household number. So if you don't put enough information in your abstract, like the household number that it needs to make the citation, it could make something up. So I see this as something that could be really helpful in the future. It's something to play with right now and not fully rely on yet. If you want to use AI to clean up this file, or you can just use what it generates for you and not worry about trying to massage it into your Airtable base. But if you're like me and you want everything in Airtable, then this is something you could try to make it more efficient. All right. Now that's just kind of for playing. I don't recommend that you do this yet for serious, because it's still something that needs time to develop, but if you like playing with technology tools and seeing how they can help you, this is one that might be interesting. Well, Goldie May has a lot of other features that are really good and helpful. And um, and Richard Miller is a developer there, and he's always making things better. And all right, so with the last part of our research logs tip is about Airtable AI. And if you plan to use AI within Airtable to help you write your report, then when you're research logging, it's really important to think about including all the details you want in your report into your research log. And this is the prompt that Airtable allows you to create. The longer this is, the longer the response will be, and the more credits it will use. You do have a limited number of credits per month, but you can always purchase add-on credits. So you do need a premium plan to do this. And so just be mindful of how you log your research so that the report text is able to be generated. So here's an example of the prompt. Your goal is to decide what was found about person, and this indicates a column in your research log. And so it's going to draw on whatever that person field shows. Your goal is to describe what was found about person in this source type, so census or probate. Start the section with a bold header stating the source date and the source type. Then write a topic sentence summarizing the row with a reference note using the source citation as a footnote formatted in Markdown, so that when it's copied and pasted into Microsoft Word, there will be numbers for the footnotes with the appropriate citations below. You will look in the results, abstract, or index data to read what was found. Then write about the findings from the source as described using concise sentences for each phrase. Do not add to what was found. Simply convert the results into sentences. Focus on names, dates, peoples, relationships, and exact details. And then in the next section, provide a bold header labeled comments, then include the comments from the researcher. So in my research log, I'm very careful to keep the results separate from my own comments so that this is exactly what the record says. And this is my analysis and comments. Then I have a section about the fan club, which is just a header, friends, associates, and neighbors, and then a bulleted list of everyone I put in the fans column. Now, sometimes I don't have anyone in the fans column. So what I'll do is create a linked record to the fans column called none. And I've since added a little sentence here that says, if there are none, skip this section. And then next, provide a bold header labeled next steps and include the next steps. And I usually do have something I want to do next after I find something, but every once in a while I won't have any. So I also will have none here and then skip this section. This is the result that AI generates from my research log row. And this is an example of a deed. And so it gives you this header section, and the asterisks mean that this is a header. And if you copy and paste this into Word, it will give you bold or header here. So the 1849 deed of trust. On March 19th, 1849, a deed of trust was registered involving John Robert Dyer and Joseph R. Mitchell in Hawkins County, Tennessee. The deed was signed on March 16th, 1849 and registered at 3 p.m. The grantor was John Dyer. The grantee was Joseph R. Mitchell. Witnesses to the deed and the consideration and describing that. And it's kind of a unique deed because it's a deed of trust. So usually I probably wouldn't write this much information about a deed, but this particular deed was kind of an interesting one. And so it kind of goes and explains all of the ways that the deed of trust was set up and who the trustee was and what would happen if he failed to pay and the public auction resulting. And it also tells that John Robert Dyer lived on land owned by C.S. McKinney, which is rare. You won't always see that if somebody is renting or leasing land. There won't always be a record of it. And sometimes you just won't find any deeds for your person in that county. But in this particular case, there was this deed of trust, and it mentioned that he was probably renting that land because he lived on land owned by someone else. So that was unusual and unique. And then this here is the formatting of Markdown, showing that when I paste this into Word, this will be a footnote number 1, and then this will be the footnote text. So this is the citation that I wrote, and now it's just going to go right into my report, and then comments, and then scrolling down, and it has the fan club and the next steps. So this was all stuff that I had put into my research log, and then I clicked generate, and AI wrote this all for me. Then I could copy and paste it into my research log. Now it was so good because I did a good transcription of the whole deed. So it was able to read that and summarize it for you. And that's really one of the strengths of AI is if you give it a really good source text, then it can do a lot of things with that. It can summarize it. It can give you a list of names and dates and relationships from that source text. But if you provide it with not very much information, it will struggle and make things up. So because I had transcribed the whole deed, it was able to generate a good paragraph. So hopefully that gives you some ideas for writing from your research log using AI.